Today, we are taking the mystery out of personal finance and turning it into simple, actionable steps for anyone wanting to take control of their financial future. We're going to skip all that complicated jargon and just jump right in. Because honestly, if you've ever felt like your money is controlling you instead of the other way around, you are in exactly the right place. Now, we usually jump straight to the math of money, right? But to truly understand our finances, we first need to confront a massive question. Why do we spend the way we do? Before you can even think about building a budget, you really have to understand the psychology behind your wallet. It's fascinating, because our financial choices are rarely just about dollars and cents. They're deeply tied to our emotions, our unfulfilled needs, and honestly, how we view ourselves in the world. So, to help us unpack all of this, we're diving into a really fantastic guide called Learn Now or Pay Later. It's basically our totally judgment free roadmap for today. It's designed to help us build a rock solid foundation, taking us logically from how we think about money all the way to the nitty gritty of mastering our credit. Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the psychology of spending. 2, wants versus needs. 3, developing a spending plan. 4, the 7 P's of goals. 5, growing your wealth. And finally, 6, mastering your credit. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the psychology of spending, understanding the mind behind the money. Let's talk about spender archetypes. We've all fallen into these traps, right? Are you the scout driving around for hours just to save 10 bucks? Maybe the pushover, totally seduced by a shiny sale sign? Or the escape artist, hitting the mall to blow off steam after a bad day? There's also the follower, keeping up with the Joneses, the firefighter, burning through cash the second it hits the bank account, and the hard worker who overspends just because they feel they've quote unquote earned it. Recognizing which of these unconscious habits you lean toward is absolutely crucial. It's the first step to taking back control. Moving right along to section 2, wants versus needs, separating survival from desire. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. We all have actual basic survival needs, right? Food, clothes, a roof over our heads. The problem kicks in when we try to fill deep emotional voids with physical stuff. We convince ourselves we absolutely need that massive new 55-inch TV or the latest smartphone, unconsciously thinking it's going to bring us some kind of lasting happiness or social status. But here's the reality. Human beings are notoriously terrible at predicting future emotions. The thrill of the purchase fades super fast, and suddenly we're just hunting for the next quick fix, dragging ourselves into debt over things we could absolutely live without. Now for section 3, developing a spending plan, building your financial blueprint. Once we've got our mindset right, we can tackle the math. Think of this as your gut check budget. It's a really straightforward breakdown of how a healthy take-home paycheck should be divided up. Ideally, you want a maximum of 40% going towards your home. Then about 17% for life expenses like groceries, 15% for travel or transportation, 12% to aggressively manage debt, and a combined 16% for savings and miscellaneous stuff. If you compare your own spending to these targets, you'll instantly spot where your budget is leaking. To really see why tracking this stuff matters, let's look at a hypothetical guy named Bob. Bob is just living his life. He grabs a 50-cent paper, a quick breakfast at the deli, a sandwich for lunch, an afternoon snack, and a couple of coffees on the run to stay awake. Honestly, none of this feels like a major luxury. It's just a completely unconscious daily routine. But it's costing him about 16 bucks and 50 cents a day. Well, let's zoom out for a second. That harmless little routine, it snowballs into a shocking annual expense of almost $4,000. Specifically, $3,960. It is wild how incredibly fast cash just bleeds out of our pockets when we aren't paying attention. But hey, here is the good news. Bob doesn't have to quit drinking coffee or skip breakfast to fix this. By just making a few tiny tweaks, like spending 20 bucks once on a coffee maker to brew at home and taking a few minutes to pack a lunch, he literally reclaims almost $1,000 a year, right back into his pocket. It just goes to show that small, consistent adjustments yield massive results over time. Which brings us to section 4, the 7 P's of goals, mapping your financial road trip. So, once your budget is in check, you need a destination. And to actually reach it, you want to use the 7 P's framework. First, your goal has to be plausible. Don't plan to buy a mega mansion on a modest salary, right? Be precise. Know the exact thing you're saving for. You've got to prioritize which goal comes first, ensure preparedness by knowing the exact costs, and keep up your positive thinking and passion. And lastly, performance. Don't just stare at the finish line. Track your progress by milestones and celebrate those small wins along the way. Next up is section 5, growing your wealth. from surviving to thriving. Okay, this is where it gets really fun. To understand how money actually grows, you have to know the rule of 72. It is this incredibly simple piece of math that completely demystifies risk and return. You literally just take the number 72, divide it by your interest rate, and bam, that's how many years it will take for your money to double. A super low risk savings account earning 1.5%, that takes a staggering 48 years to double your cash. But a high risk stock market investment averaging an 11% return, that doubles your money in just 6.5 years. Obviously, you start safe with an emergency fund, but eventually you have to embrace a little calculated risk to outpace inflation. And finally, Section 6, Mastering Your Credit, Protecting Your Financial Reputation. Look, life happens, and if you ever hit a rough patch, you absolutely must know the difference between secured and unsecured debt, so you know who to pay first. Secured debt is tied to collateral. If you don't pay your mortgage or your car loan, the bank literally takes your house or your car. Unsecured debt, like credit cards or medical bills, doesn't have physical collateral attached to it. So if push comes to shove, always prioritize paying your secured debt first to protect your shelter and your transportation. You also have to fiercely protect your credit score from mistakes. Did you know that nearly 85% of credit reports contain errors? 85%. If you spot one, there are 4 exact steps you need to follow. First, identify the error and gather your documents. Second, write a crystal clear dispute letter. Third, and this is the secret sauce, send it via certified mail with a return receipt requested. That gives you undeniable legal proof they got it. And fourth, wait up to 30 days for them to do their legally mandated investigation. Taking charge of your money, it's really about changing your mindset. We've seen today that your net worth literally has zero to do with your self-worth. You have the power to stop letting money control you and start making it work for you. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this. Take a hard look at your daily habits. Look at your wants versus your needs. And ask yourself, what is one small, empowering choice you can make today to secure your financial tomorrow?